Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Novel Reviews. This is episode 31. And, like I said in that last episode, another Doctor Who book. Doctor Who, The Visitation, by Eric Saward. I think he wrote the original story for this one. I think he did. I had to look it up, but yeah, this is an adaptation of, let's see. I'm sorry. There it is. Okay. Now this is set in, well, they wanted to. Now the thing with this particular story is, okay, here we go. This is from, this is the fourth story of season 19, which was the first season of Peter Davidson's Doctor. Now he was Doctor for 3 years. The reason why he left for the 3 years is because he got advice from Patrick Troughton, the second Doctor, during the shooting of the fifth Doctor's, the 20th anniversary of the series, that you should stay for 3 years and leave to avoid being typecast. And he took that advice to heart. He left for the 3 years. But he kind of announced that he was leaving after the serial known as Warriors Deep, which I actually enjoyed that particular story. Now, what about this one? This story is noteworthy for one particular piece of continuity. It's the last appearance in the classic series of the Sonic Screwdriver. It gets destroyed halfway through the story. Now, the original plan was that the Doctor would have a drawer full of other Sonic Screwdrivers, but nope. According to the showrunner, John Nathan Turner, the guy has since passed away. A lot of pictures I've seen of him, he's always wearing Hawaiian shirts. He deemed, nope, don't need a Sonic Screwdriver anymore. And it was the last time the Sonic Screwdriver was seen until the Doctor Who movie that came out in 1996. So yeah, people had to wait 14 years until the 96 movie, which aired during Sleep Sleeps, by the way, they would get a chance to see a Sonic Screwdriver again. So for pretty much the remainder of the classic era, right after this story aired, no more Sonic Screwdriver. Nope. Because apparently Jonathan didn't like it at all for some reason. I have no idea why. It was not a popular decision per se to do it. But what about this story overall? It's a pretty interesting story. There's references to the first opening story, which is I think it's not Legolas. It's what's the name of that first story? Castrovelva. Yes, there is reference. There's a few references to Castrovelva in here. References to that, and plus also the final fourth Doctor episode, Legalopolis, the story which he regenerated into Peter Davison, when Tegan referenced the Master, because the Master killed her aunt using his shrink thing that he I think it's called tissue compressor. Yes, tissue compressor, which shrinks people. Apparently, he actually took that from an actual. He actually stole that technology from another alien species, and he used it on Tegan's aunt. He's used it several times, and he's tried to use it to where basically he can shrink people without actually killing them. He actually did succeed at this once, and I think it was Planet of Fire. I think it was. But, yeah, Tegan hates the Master, which makes her probably by far one of two companions who actually hate the Master really that much. I mean, Jo despised the Master, but like everybody else did, but she had no personal gripe with him at all. Tegan does. So does Martha Jones. Because in the Revived series, the Master took over the world for a whole year and basically tortured her family. That's why she hates the Master. Tegan, because he killed her aunt. That's the reason why. But yeah, even though he's referencing here, he does not make appearance in the story. He returns in the story Time Flight, which is the end of the end of Peter Davison's first year on the show. Also, Adric is in here as well. This is before Adric's death in the story Earthshock. I know I'm kind of spoiling that, but yeah, the story came out over like 30 years ago. So yeah, it came out like 35 years ago. Now, Earthshock was the pendulum episode of season 19. This aired in early 1982. So basically, 35 years. So this is actually Adric's. I think it says. Well, let's see. This is his second to last. This is his third to last story he appears in before the character dies. Now, as far as I've heard, the actor who played him, what's his name? The actor who plays Adric, Matthew Waterhouse. Now, people have compared Adric to Wesley Crusher from Star Trek Next Generation, in the fact that he's a boy genius and he is very obnoxious about it. To the point where he actually basically did what the fans told him to do. Stay away from Doctor Who. And he has. He has nothing really much to do with Doctor Who anymore. Davison, of course, last time I saw him was actually on the show Law and Order UK, which has since been discontinued. As for the actress who played Tegan, lovely woman. I saw a video of her that Jenna Fielding has since retired from acting and become a casting agent. In the case of the actress who played Nyssa, Sarah Sutton, she is still acting, and she's in her 50s. Yeah, that's the thing about this one. Basically, I think that when the story was first aired, they're probably all in their late... Now, Davison himself was 29 when he took over the role as a doctor from Tom Baker, which made him, at that point, the youngest person ever to become the doctor, which he held the distinction until Matt Smith took over at the age of 26. A role he endured for 3 years before giving it up to the current doctor, Peter Capaldi. Now, yes, this guy here, who's on the cover, he is the main villain of the story. Yeah, apparently his plan is to wipe out the human race and just live here. And he's kind of intimidating one village. It's kind of it's an okay story per se. Now, I love the Grim Reaper character, the android. I thought he was a pretty interesting character on the original story when I watched it. But this guy, a guy who apparently is an escaped convict, as for what he did, both in the story and the actual novel, it's never revealed exactly what his crime was. It could have been murder, it could have been treason. Who the heck knows? The doctor himself has never did ask him at all. Oh, and by the way, he's this guy here. He is a Tripoli. What is his name? He just referred to as Tripoli leader. This is the guy who destroyed the sonic screwdriver, because the doctor used it to open up one of his holographic illusions. And also, there's mentions of torture in the story when Tegan is basically recovering from basically a stun blast to the chest. Now, the thing with Tegan and Nyssa is very lovely women. I gotta admit, yeah, they're very lovely women. Heck, I heard of some fanfic basically pairing them up for some reason. I don't know why, but yeah. But this story is still pretty interesting, and it's very critical for the history of Doctor Who, because the sonic screwdriver gets destroyed. That's the biggest thing that happens in the history of the show, is the fact this is also the last appearance, like I said, until 1996. So 14 years, no sonic screwdriver at all. Heck, it's even referenced in the episode Time Crash, that because he's hands free, so he can't use a sonic screwdriver. Yeah, Peter Davison actually came back to reprise his role as a doctor for that quick little multi-doctor story. Apparently, Russell T Davies is not. He didn't feel like doing multi-doctor stories that much. He only did just that one. Moffat only did, as far as I can tell, 2. He did The Name of the Doctor and Time. There was a couple of them. Basically, he did the end, which is this a few years ago. He did that, which featured the War Doctor briefly, and of course the 50th anniversary Time of the Doctor. Yep. But this story is still pretty interesting to read. It's a good, interesting story, but it's kind of, well, the plot itself is kind of weak. But I do recommend reading the story and definitely watching the original serial when you get a chance. As far as I've heard, it is on DVD. Let's see. Yeah. Yep, it is on DVD. It's been on DVD since it was re-released in DVD a few years ago. So you can still find this, but this episode is very important to the history of Doctor Who. Just because they got rid of the Sonic Screwdriver, like I said. And I'll repeat myself, but yeah, that's the biggest thing that happens in here. Oh yeah, and Adric pilots the TARDIS. Steers the TARDIS perfectly fine in the middle of the mansion. Despite the fact it's clearly been written in the history of the show, from William Hartnell up until Peter Davison, that the Doctor can't steer the TARDIS. And yet Adric can steer perfectly fine. Yep. Yeah. Also, I need to point this out. When Peter Davison started up his run, he was the first Doctor since William Hartnell to start off with 3 companions. Because if you look at it, when Patrick Troughton hit his era, he had 2 companions. John Pertwee had 1. Baker had 2 to start off with, and then was reduced to 1 to get replaced here and there. Davidson started out with 3. Then by the end of the season, it was lowered down to 2. And then toward the end, I believe it was of his second season, Nissa left, and Tegan herself stayed pretty much up until the story Resurrection of the Daleks. Apparently, she got tired of all the violence, and here's the neat thing about the actress who plays her. She appears in almost every single Fifth Doctor story except one. And that is, I believe it's Planet of Fire. Yeah, it's Planet of Fire. It's Peter Davidson's second to last appearance. That was the story that came right after Resurrection of Daleks. And she is referenced at the beginning. And then, of course, the actress does come back to appear as a hallucination, as Tegan, for Caves of Azraeli. Very good story. I highly recommend it. Hopefully I get a chance to get my hands on the book if I get my hands on reading it. It was a really good story. Really interesting, too. But the adaptation is good. I get the story 8.5 out of 10. The story is kind of weak. But, like I said, it is important to Doctor Who history. Alright, that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for the next episode, which the next episode, when I finish up my book, will be a Star Trek book. Yep, and it's a follow-up to one I did 2 episodes before this one. Okay? But until then, I will see you there. Bye.